I'm in Karibuni to Aroma of Zanzibar. Today I'm going to share with you how I'm making this beautiful Italian dessert called tiramisu, means pick me up. So I've got my ingredients here, some egg yolks, mascarpone cheese, milk, sugar, heavy whipping cream, and we'll also be needing some coffee syrup. Okay, so I'm making my coffee syrup here. I've got some decaf coffee and I'm adding some sugar. I'm going to bring this to a boil until it reduces in half. Now the actual recipe calls for espresso and Kahlua, so if you're using that, you do not need to make a coffee syrup. With my eggs, I've got a pan of simmering hot water here, and we're just going to add the yolks, the sugar, and little milk. I added a bit too much, so basically you need about 2 to 3 tablespoons. It actually depends on the size of the yolks. So my mixture is a little bit too thin, but it's gonna work. Okay, and I like to do this because I want to make sure that my egg yolks are cooked. I prefer cooked eggs in my dessert. Okay, so you're gonna add vanilla if you want, and you're just gonna stir it continuously until it thickens. And like I say, it's gonna be a little bit thicker than this one, than mine. Okay, and once you're done, make sure you have a ice bath ready to keep your egg yolk mixture so that it cools while you're getting ready to work with your other ingredients. Okay, so just leave it for a couple of minutes and it will be ready. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm going to start working with my heavy whipping cream, and you want to make sure the cream is cold and the mixer is cold, and whatever utensils you're going to use, the beaters are also very cold. Okay, and this process takes about maximum 5 to 7 minutes, not more than that. So I just started slow, and then you're going to increase the speed of your mixer to go on high. So just want it light and fluffy, and just like this, it's enough. Don't over whip it, it's going to break down. Okay, so now my eggs are ready. They've cooled and they're a little bit thicker than what they were, as you can see. And I've got my mascarpone cheese ready, and you want to make sure that the mascarpone cheese is on room temperature because it's going to give you a lot of lumps if it's cold. Okay, so basically I just want to mix here, combine, and I'm looking for a silky smooth texture without any lumps. So I'm going to shift and use the whisk attachment, a whisk, and we're going to whip this to get that smooth texture. All right, and once we are done with this, we are going to start folding in our cream. And with the cream, of course, we want to be as gentle as possible. And you want to fold in the cream because we want all the air. We want our cream mixture to be very light, airy, and fluffy. So this process is very gentle. And you're going to add the cream in 3 to 4 additions. Whatever makes you comfortable, just go ahead and do it. Okay, so now I'm ready to assemble my cake. I'm doing a tiramisu cake, and you can use a casserole if you just want to have a tiramisu, and a normal tiramisu dessert. I'm doing a cake, and I've got a recipe on how I made the disc and the lady fingers. So I'm just placing my disc on the pan, and spreading some coffee on it, soaking some coffee on it. The coffee syrup this is, but if you're using the lady fingers, you may need to dip the lady fingers into the coffee and then put it in your pan or a casserole dish that you're using. Then after that, we're going to dust some cocoa powder, and then layer the cream, and you want to make it even. Okay, Now the lady fingers and the coffee, that can be done ahead of time. You don't have to do it all at the same day, okay? Because it may look like it's a lot of work to be done, so you can do that ahead of time. So you just want to spread the cream evenly and then add the second portion of the sponge. So in this case, you'll be doing the lady fingers, and you can make them in a square pan or a round pan, however you prefer. Okay, then we're just gonna go through the same process, the coffee, and then dust the cocoa powder. And then the cream again. And you don't have to make 3 layers. I'm making 3 layers because I want to, but you can do 2 layers. And of course, if you're making a bigger size pan, usually people do the 13 by 9 inches. Usually with this quantity of the cream, you'll get only maybe 2 layers. Okay. And then we're gonna dust some cocoa powder on top of the cream. And then the 3rd layer, okay? And this dessert is very light, and of course it's meant for adults. The original version is meant for adults because it has the espresso, which has a lot of caffeine, and of course the alcohol. So if you don't want those things, this is a recipe for you, okay? And then again the cocoa powder. And then we're going to do our last layer of cream. Then after this, excuse me, we're going to put this in the fridge at least for 6 hours or overnight. So I'm going to keep mine overnight. And this is a dessert that you can do ahead of time. You don't have to rush. Okay. So I'm going to keep mine overnight, and then we shall see. Okay, so you just want to spread it evenly. Okay, this is the next day, and I'm just removing my spring foam. And what I've done is I've just whipped some cream with the coffee syrup that I had. I flavored it, and I'm covering the sides. You really don't need to do this. You can just leave the cake the way it is. And I mean, it looks just beautiful the way it is, but it's I wanted to use the lady fingers that I have, because I did a video to show the lady fingers. So since I have them, I wanted to use those. So this cake is going to be a tiramisu shallot cake. Because, when you put the lady fingers outside, you cover the wall, then the name changes. Okay, so otherwise you can just serve it just like this. You see how beautiful it looks. It's perfectly all right. So we're just going to clean it up. And then, and this dessert, you can keep it in the fridge. It's served cold. And keep it in the fridge. It can last up to 5 days, actually up to a week. But make sure it's, you can cover it, if you have the cake cover or something, just cover it when you keep it in the fridge because you don't want it to dry. Okay, so you're just going to dust some cocoa powder and do whatever decorations you want to do with this. Or you can just leave it like this. It's perfectly all right. So since I have the cream, the whipped cream with coffee, I'm going to make some designs. Surprisingly, today I don't have a lot to say. I usually have a lot to say and I have to talk so fast so that I can include everything, make sure I don't forget anything. But today I can't seem to have anything to say. Those are coffee beans that I'm just keeping them for decorations. Now these are my lady fingers, and they're a little bit taller than I expected. So, I mean, it's not that I didn't plan to put them here, but then now since I decided, so I've just chopped them a bit to get them to the size of the cake. They can be taller. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just covering my cake with the lady fingers. And like I said, this is now has become a shallot tiramisu cake or tiramisu shallot cake, whatever you want to call it. But the shallot name has to be there. And you can use these lady fingers to make a strawberry shallot cake. Maybe sometime I'll make it for you guys. All right, so thank you so much. For more recipes, please visit me at Aroma of Zanzibar. And please do check out the video on how to make the lady fingers. You can tie a ribbon over there and make it look pretty. Thank you.